I'm Cameron Waldner, and this is Volunteer Houston. Today we're at Goodwill Industries Houston to talk about mentoring and how we as a city can come together on our most valuable commodity, our youth. So why don't you come in and join me as we focus on three great organizations that are helping protect our future. Come on. Welcome back to Volunteer Houston. We're glad you're here, and joining us today is Noel Pinnock. Noel, thank you for coming by and talking about My Brother's Keepers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cameron. It's a delight to be here today. As you know, our city, as well as most of the cities in the country, are in dire straits. And I say dire straits because we're losing the most precious commodity that our nation has to offer, and that's our children.
Yes.
And My Brother's Keeper obviously is a human instrument, as Mayor Turner would say, that is looking to help build and bridge gaps that exist in the lives of our children, not only in the lives of the children, but also in the communities that they live in.
That's so awesome. So y'all are looking for mentors here in Houston. It sounds like this is the Houston chapter. So this is part of a bigger picture as well, right?
Absolutely. There are over 250 jurisdictions across the country that have signed on to this challenge.
That's awesome.
And I think the city of Houston is one of the elite cities that have adopted My Brother's Keeper and have taken on the full breadth of what My Brother's Keepers offers. And that is, how do we prepare kids for life and career? And how do we ensure that they have success along the way? So you said mentors. And so we know that every kid should have a mentor, somebody that extends outside of their family, that can work with them, that will provide them with needed nurture and assistance. In fact, one of the critical things that we find out is that our kids are not being lost in this society due to chronic illness and disease. They're being lost because nobody knows them. Wow. They're living and walking in this society anonymously.
But we're in this most connected world ever. I mean, you can pull out your phone. I mean, your watch can connect you to the internet now, and these kids are still being missed. So what's the overall need that y'all are hitting? I mean, mentors, kids. How do we get past that?
We got two needs.
Yeah.
We have a short-term need and a long-term need. In our short-term, what we're looking to do is to provide 35 youth in 3 elementary schools with bigs. We're partnering with big brothers and big sisters so that we can pipe into an organization that's already mission-minded in providing that level of mentorship and service. And so we're plugging in with that. We need 35 mentors.
That's easy. In the third largest city in the United States, 35 people, we can do that.
But here's the catch. There's a year-long commitment that they have to apply to and really make certain that they're going to work with these youth, 35 boys or girls in the elementary school level, and really provide them and pour into them everything that they think is important for them to be successful in life.
Well, and it sounds like y'all are wrapping around these services, so it's not isolary. So you're partnering with other agencies. Who are some of your other partners?
Well, we have really big partners, and I've always kind of smiled when we bring people to the table, because everyone that we've brought to the table has never told us no. That we can't do it. They've all said yes, you know. But it's one thing to get them at the table, it's another thing to keep them at the table. So we're partnering with Harris County CPS, Children Protective Services. There's a division called Community Youth Services there that's going to help provide social work service and referral and case management services to children in our MBK areas. Although we're not all the way throughout the city of Houston, we have to start somewhere first, build that model, measure that model before we replicate. We're also partnering with communities and schools. They also provide Tier 2 services and linking kids. Their focus is attendance, behavior, and classroom grades. Not to mention Harris Center for Mental Health and IDD, formerly MHMRA, because we know that there are going to be some kids that are going to require some deep and intensive type of intervention, not just a mentor that can help them, navigate the uncertainties of today, but they're going to need case management, cognitive behavior therapy to really get them through some of the troubles. Mayor Turner said it best. He said, we can have great streets, great roads, but we can't have children and families walking and driving on these streets with holes in their lives.
Exactly.
And if we fill the potholes in our streets, we can definitely fill the potholes in our children's lives.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal.
That's a big statement. I think you should almost say that again. I mean, that's powerful,
Well,
right?
I'm borrowing from Mayor. So,
Hey,
but let me tell you, let me borrow it
Yeah.
again. He said that if we can have great streets, but if we have children and families walking and driving on these streets, right, with potholes in their lives, what difference are we really making?
Yeah.
You know,
we've ultimately failed at that point then.
Well, think about it, Cameron. 20% of our population across the country are children, but they represent 100% of our future. So if we're looking at trying to motivate and move the needle in lives of children and in community, we have to start where the rubber meets the road. No pun intended. You know, we're talking about driving.
May borrow that from you, right?
He's a great leader, man. And he has endorsed this movement, and he understands that, you know, we have to have a human instrument that is really going to affect the change in the lives of our future. And it starts with our children, and it starts today. And so with the mentoring capabilities that we find that are available through different organizations, because My Brother's Keeper is not a program. We're, like, as you said, we are wrapping these services around these kids. We're bringing people to the table. I just list 3 of the 250 that are already present.
That's awesome.
There are numerous faith-based organizations that's involved. We're working with the Houston Super Bowl host committee to bring literacy to life. We work with Wade Smith and his Reading Foundation because we know that if we want to affect the change in our lives, we got to be the example on the ground for our children.
So what's the age limit that you're looking at? Because, I mean, you talk about Super Bowl, you talk about literacy. You know, if they're not reading on par by the 3rd grade, the likelihood that they graduate from high school, I mean, it's almost written. So, so where are you hitting these kids?
Well, we're hitting them actually at birth. Wow. In fact, when you think about it, and I took a pause there because oftentimes we don't give the necessary attention to the prenatal development of kids, and that childhood education and development doesn't start after a child was born. It starts when they're neonatal, right? And so we're actually looking at 0 all the way to age 24 and even beyond, because the grasp of the problem is far greater than a lot of people understand. So the solution has to, in some instances, parallel the problem size. And so we're looking at from the cradle all the way when they graduate high school, when they enter into college and or a certificate program and into our goal ultimately is to create a barrage of tax-paying citizens that are able to go back into the community and be positive contributors.
It's awesome. I mean, because if we don't do that, these people are not going to have the jobs that make an impact, that continue driving the energy and the motion of Houston.
Well, we're talking about a global society. We're talking about jobs going overseas. Well, at the same time, we're not equipping the resources on our own sovereign soil. And I think that you have to maintain a competitive edge, and you got to start with while they're young. You got to expose them to things that are going to allow them to be successful. And then guess what? You got to celebrate with them as they make the journey.
Well, Noel, I cannot thank you enough for being here. How do people find out about My Brother's Keeper Houston?
Wow, you know, you talked about connected, right? Well, we're connected on almost every social media platform, right? We have MBK Houston, at MBK Houston on Twitter, at MBK Houston on Facebook, at MBK Houston on Instagram, as well as www.mbkhouston.org.
Sounds like you got that branding under control.
MBK Houston. The movement.
Yes. Well, that's really powerful. Y'all are up to a lot of great things. We hope to get you those 35 volunteers and then some. So.
Yes, they have to go through Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and they will link them to our efforts that we got on the ground.
Love it. Sir, thank you so much for your time. And again, when we look at mentoring here in Houston, it's part of the bigger picture. We're investing in our future, by investing in these youth. So, Noel, thank you so much, sir.
Cameron,
it was a pleasure.
Before I let you go, I'm going to give you one of these things right here.
Oh, very fun.
I'm going to take it off of me. That's mbkhouston.org. It's a reminder for you.
This is a reminder.
As a badge of honor.
Wonderful.
You got your shovel?
I'll keep it on. I got it. We're going to do this.
Let's fill some potholes.
Yes.
And the lives of our children.
Love it.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Welcome back to Volunteer Houston. Today we're talking about mentoring and how you can get involved and make a true impact in a kid's life. Really our most valuable commodity here in Houston. I'm joined with Laura Renaud. Laura, tell us about the organization you represent today.
Okay, I work for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Houston, which I bet a lot of people have heard of. It's a national organization, but here in Houston we have 13 clubs that offer programming every single day after school and then also in the summertime.
Wonderful. About how many kids would you say are at each of your clubs?
We have about 200 kids, sometimes more at most of our clubs.
Really? So you're probably pushing almost 2,500 kids that y'all are impacting just here in Houston.
Yes, daily.
That's awesome.
So some kids, we average about 11,000, a little bit more a year, so that different kids come in every single day. So you don't have to come every day. You can come. So that's our numbers right now.
Awesome. Now, when you're looking for mentors, are you looking for the one-to-one, or are you looking for groups to work with kids? How does that process work?
It's not as structured as other mentoring programs. So at our clubs, at our 13 clubs, we have a lot of individual volunteers that come in and work with our kids with homework assistance.
Okay.
So homework gets done at the clubs before kids go back to their houses, which is a really nice service for families and parents.
And you match people that understand math with kids that need math, because I'd come in and be rubbish for helping them with math. Okay.
Exactly. So companies will send mentors in to do that, but also you can volunteer individually.
Oh, that's
to help
something
with that.
interesting. So a company could get involved and send their employees to come in as a mentor. So
right.
How does that work for a company if they're out listening today?
Yes, we have a corporate volunteer manager, and all she does is match companies with clubs and volunteer experiences. So that's a big part of what we do, whether that's a construction work at one of our clubs or it's volunteering with the kids in a mentoring capacity. Companies can have a lot of ways to get involved.
Well, that's awesome. Are there big programs or projects that go on year in and year out that you need volunteers for?
There's a lot of different opportunities we have big projects for. Around the holiday season, we have parties at each of our clubs for the kids. So that's companies will come in and sponsor one club and have a party for them.
So that they feel special, they feel engaged.
Right.
Okay,
yes.
That's awesome. So what are some of the other things that y'all have going on that volunteers or mentors really that need to be aware of?
I think as far as kids go, homework, like I had said before, is a big one. I think just making relationships with these kids. I've seen so many kids who don't have an adult in their lives who come to the club and keep up with their mentors there, these volunteers who've been at the clubs for years. So making those relationships, coaching sports teams is big for us.
Oh, that has to be fun. That's something a little bit different.
Fun.
Like you get out and you play either, I guess, soccer or like baseball or something.
And that's what Boys and Girls Clubs is known for.
Okay.
Is that
It's the
piece.
sports aspect.
We always need help with that. But the volunteers really, we have staff at each of our clubs, so the volunteers really run the club. So
very cool. Now, do you have to on the sports side? Do you have to have prior experience or go in and get training? Because I know that like dribbling and free throws and all of this, and like the 3-second rules always change every year. How into it do y'all get?
We're pretty into it. We have competitions amongst all the clubs, so we're very into it, but you don't have to have experience. Well,
okay, you'll walk them through so they're not making bad calls.
Yes.
And really, it's enriching the kids, though, is what you're looking for.
Right, exactly.
So, how long is a typical volunteer opportunity for one of these mentors you're looking for? Are you looking for one and done? Or are you looking for multiple months on end? Something in between?
We're hoping that you create relationships with these kids, because that's really how you impact their lives, but we also have a lot of opportunities if you can only come once a month. It's just not as structured, so we want people to get involved in any capacity they can.
Awesome. So there's 13 clubs. It looked like y'all are doing now one in Fort Bend, and y'all are doing some stuff with the Texans. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so at our Havard Club, which was our first club, it's in the Heights area, actually. We're opening a Texans teen club this winter. So that club is sponsored by the Houston Texans, and it's just for teens. It's the first club in Houston, and one of the very first in the country, just for teens. So it's a great way to get involved if you're passionate about teens.
Now, folks that are mentoring there, you have J.J. Watt coming in coaching, right? Is that how this?
He might be there. Not every day, but it's a great partnership that we have with them. So
that's so awesome. I mean, and that just shows how our community comes in and really supports these mentoring actions and efforts. The other was Fort Bend. So is that a new club that y'all are looking at?
We have 3 clubs in the Fort Bend County area,
wow.
actually,
Okay.
and we have a fundraiser every year now for just our Fort Bend clubs.
That's fantastic. So I mean, when you look at this, it's really the Houston region that y'all are supporting. You said 11,000 youth that are being mentored, 2,500 it looks like, really region-wide. Were there any new initiatives that y'all have going on?
Yes, we just recently started a young professionals organization to get young people more involved in Boys and Girls Clubs. So right now we have almost 200 young professionals who have gotten involved already, and we'd love any other people, between the ages of 22 and 35 to...
So I just barely make it then,
Yes,
I guess, right?
you do, yes. So that's volunteering, special projects. We have networking events just for young professionals. So
awesome. So how do people find out about this?
You can go to our website. It's www.bgcgh.org. That stands for Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Houston.
Wonderful.
Twitter is BGCGH. Facebook is BGC Houston.
Ooh,
and Instagram. I know, and
there.
Instagram's BGC Houston also. So
wonderful. Well, it sounds like there's definitely a need, and y'all are truly filling over 11,000 kids' passions and dreams on that. So when we come back, we'll be joined with Goodwill Houston as we talk about how we can get and further our mentoring capacity here in Houston. So stay tuned as we look to find further engagement in the Houston region. Welcome back to Volunteer Houston. Today we're talking about mentoring. Many ways you can get involved here in Houston, and today we're at Goodwill Industries of Houston, and I'm joined with Kafalat. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you for having me, Cameron, here on your show.
Oh, we love it. So before we came back, we were talking about how to get kids engaged, but how to get the business community engaged, and it sounds like y'all have this thing figured out.
Well, I would like to think we do. Because here at Goodwill Industries of Houston, our mission is really changing lives through the power of work. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that we do that is offer training for those who have barriers to employment and offer them ways to get into the workforce, to get better contributors to society. And what better opportunity to do that than with our youth?
That's awesome. So when we look at this, it's the youth coming to the mentor rather than what we talked about in our prior 2 segments of the mentor coming to the youth, right?
It is. What we ask the business community as we work with the soft skills and teaching them how to be on time and how to dress appropriate for interviews and how to take what they've done from home and put it on a resume and present themselves to the employer. We ask that the employers are open to giving our youth opportunities to gain work experience while they're looking for work.
That's phenomenal. So about how many mentors are you looking for, or businesses that you're looking for to partner?
Well, we are focusing on the 5 major industries that Goodwill Houston Partnership has identified: the petrochem industry, healthcare industry, construction and manufacturing, and logistics. And these are industries that we have noticed that the older workers are retiring, and we need to really invest in creating training opportunities and getting our younger generations to become involved and excited about this industry, get the training, get the skills that they need in order for them to fill these positions.
That's awesome. And I mean, and this is something that we've now talked about today. It's almost this pipeline that we're developing. So what age kids were y'all is this that you're looking at to engage?
Well, here at the Meyerland location where we focus on our youth services, we work with youth 16 to 24.
Okay, very, very cool. So there's a couple of now age brackets that we've seen of 16 to 24. Now, you said Meyerland. Are there other Goodwills in Houston?
Yes, we have 9 different job connections throughout the city.
Okay.
We have 64 stores that one can also support this mission, because 95 cents of every dollar that is generated goes into funding our mission services.
So there's really something in your backyard that you can go to that's going to help with their job development, with their dignity, with connecting them with folks.
Yes, yes, there is. One of the things that we also encourage the business community and invite them to come and do is really, we have opportunities where we call Look in the Mirror, where the youth get to actually see themselves as they're projecting. What image are they looking to project? And so, of course, from a service point of view, they hear us all the time, go through these soft skills. But to have the business opportunity come in, an employer come in and say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we expect, is really a great way of group mentoring that the business community can also do here on site.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you can do group mentoring, individual, company. Is there something that y'all don't do right now that you wish, long term?
Well, long term, we're looking to really expand and look to give opportunities to youth on the outskirts. Right now we concentrate on the southwest side of Houston. We're looking to expand our reach and our youth and be out in the north side of Houston and east. So we're really just looking to expand over the couple of years.
That's phenomenal. So they're really taking these services and finding the populations that need them and then getting them connected with mentors. And
yes.
I bet being now in the fourth, arguably the third largest city in the United States, y'all have a lot of mentors. About how many mentors are y'all looking at, or do y'all still need?
And like I said, because we are focusing on the 5 major industries in this area, it's actually limitless. We're looking for small businesses. Right now, we have about 32 on our roster that have opened their doors.
Oh, that's
and,
awesome.
Allowed our young people, 1 or 2 at a time, to come in and experience, do work experience with them. We are looking to expand that. Like I said, we concentrate in the southwest side of Houston, but again, we're looking for employers at the Port of Houston where they can get some pipe fitting experience, some experience in the manufacturing industry there, all the way to Sealy. Awesome. And so we're just looking to expand over the next couple of years.
What do you think one of the biggest takeaway from one of the kids that's been mentored has walked away with?
Being able to know that he has a skill that is marketable and he will be able to earn more than the minimum wage.
That's phenomenal. I mean, that adds so much dignity. How do people find out about y'all to get engaged with this?
Well, they can find us on our website, goodwillhouston.org.
Well, Kafalat, thank you so much for telling us about what's going on and just the impact that y'all are making here. Today on Volunteer Houston, we were just blown away by what's going on here. We've seen youth engagement that really is across the city, across the spectrum, from My Brother's Keepers to Girls and Boys Clubs of Houston and here at Goodwill Industries of Houston. You can always find out more on volunteerhouston.org and jump in and start volunteering today. These are opportunities that are going to shape our most valuable resource, and that's our youth. And it's only up to you to make that difference. So thank you.